But I'm digging in on that final stretch of the season, not just as a broadcaster, but kind of that player mentality also, where you start to see the end, whether it be, for some of these teams, it's going to be, okay, I'm making some off-season plans, or I'm giving that last 3-week contract push to see what I can get next year and impress whoever I need to impress so I can have a job next year. Or you're in the Astro camp where you're just going, okay, let's just win some ball games, grind this thing out, and get past the American League West, raise the flag, raise the banner, raise the title, and pop some champagne, because I know last year was a little subdued with the championship enjoyment process. This year might be a little bit different with the ability to go out there and just really pop some champagne bottles and enjoy it and do it in front of your fans.
Yeah, so Blummer, tell me about that. I mean, we've discussed this on the podcast before, and I mean, in the minor leagues, it was like win or go home. I mean, we won championships in the minor leagues, and we did have some champagne and some celebration at that point. But the way celebrations have, become in, in major sports in general, especially in baseball, it's like, all right, we won we won our division, champagne pop, right? We won the wild card, yay, champagne pop. We won the, championship series, champagne. Like last year, obviously diminished that. But when you're a team like the Astros, who went, obviously, they've earned this, right? They were a 100-loss team, when AJ first came in, and now they're starting to win 100 games. But when you put a lineup and a team on the field like the Astros do, they're expected to win. I don't think that takes away from the sincerity and the enjoyment of grinding out a season where a 100-win season in a 162-game, total season that. I don't know if it diminishes the celebration, but as you said, last year it was a little subdued. But are these guys, like, when you are expected to win, I guess there's a little more pressure, but is it relieving the pressure from the expectation? I mean, you got to figure the Astros probably all year, at least the GM and everybody else probably expected to be in this position. So does that affect the celebration at all? Or I see you nodding along. You're like, hell no.
No. You, like you just said, you go through 162 games and you prove that you're the best. You're damn well going to enjoy the end of that. And I think it's a little bit different this season for the Houston Astros, and I could be completely wrong, but everything that they have been through in the last year, 2 years, and the way last year went, played a little bit under par, sub 500, sneak into the playoffs, and then destroy everybody until they get to that 7th game of the ALCS and miss out on going to the World Series again. I think that they showed up this season knowing fans were going to be in the stands, knowing they were going to get their share of vitriol and booing and haterade that's out there. And they played their asses off on the road. And I think it might be a little bit more special for these guys in a couple of different ways. That being one of them, knowing that they were up against a wall, they were targeted, yet they still went out there and played great baseball, potentially taking back the American League West. That's one thing. And then I think the other side of it is going, hey, guess what? We're still good. I think that's, there's a certain amount of pride in that clubhouse for these guys to go out there and continue to play well, considering all the controversy around them, and putting up numbers comparable to 2017, putting up numbers comparable to 2019, and winning another division title with all of the controversy and all of the people around them being skeptics. I think that will add a little more icing on the cake for them when they do actually pop those bottles of champagne. You won't hear it. Maybe Carlos Correa may be the one guy that's the vocal leader and may say something in a post-game interview. But I think for the most part, these guys are going to get underneath after they clinch that American League West and pop those bottles of champagne and kind of look around at each other and go, yeah, that's right. We came back. We enjoyed it. And it's our time to have some fun with it.
Blummer, I really appreciate you saying that, because you rarely... I mean, you've taken on your new role really well, but, being a media personality, an ex-player, but you rarely kind of get into the feelings of it. And I think I brought this up before, that when we started the podcast, 2.5 years ago, just about how guys don't typically play for the money. I mean, you mentioned contract years, and certainly they get paid to do this, but really it's the ultimate competitor that these guys are. And then when you have something like, what the Astros went through with, the video and the trash can and all that stuff, which obviously we know other teams were doing, it really can galvanize, is the word I was thinking of, galvanize a team. Yep. And we did talk about that, the chip on the shoulder thing. So I think you're right. I mean, I think anyway, just the way you said it, you articulated it very well. I mean, you could tell there's like some underlying current there. Like, yeah, we showed them, and that's really what makes athletics and sports and all of these things so fantastic, is that, you know, teams can do that. And I do think maybe added pressure may not be the right word, but I think all along the Astros probably expected to be in this position with the kind of team that they put together, and the fact that they're now going to, you know, accomplish goal number one of the season. I think they should enjoy it, and I do think they should take some comfort in that. But it will be interesting to see, as always, how the playoffs shake out, because we know that's pitching and defense. And the pitching, you know, especially from the bullpen aspect, is probably the Astros. You know, if there's a weak link, that's probably the weak link. So last year they had a sub 500 record, got in, and then started beating people. This year they're kind of expected to probably do a little more damage, at least get to the ALCS, and it'll be interesting to see. So this year's journey, I think, to your point, you got to enjoy every step along the way, right? If you accomplish a task, then celebrate that. So.
No, and I think that's an excellent point. I think that might be another reason why you've got to go out there and enjoy all these opportunities that you do get in the playoffs. You know, I played 14 years in the major leagues, and I had, 2005 was my first playoff appearance. I broke in the league in 99, so 2005 was my first playoff appearance. 2006 with San Diego, we won the National League West, so that was my second appearance. And then I didn't get back to the playoffs until 2011 with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So 3 years out of 14 years and getting into the playoffs, and they were sweet every time. But I mean, there's teams along, or there's players along the way that never even get into the playoffs who end up in the Hall of Fame. So, and you probably talk to some of those guys. I'm sure there's interviews on record where they're going, "Hey, what was missing in your career? You know, you made it to the Hall of Fame," and they're saying a world championship, a playoff appearance. You know, There's a lot of things missing. So, even as good as these guys have been, because I think in 4 of the last 5 years, not only have they qualified for the playoffs, but they've been to the American League Championship Series and been to the World Series twice. And that's something that you want to continue to do as often as you can, because when you do retire and you're on a podcast with an old buddy and you start to tell stories and you really start to re-engage and reassess what your career was, you're going to really appreciate those moments that you had with the boys, grinding it out for 162 and then fighting like hell through a playoff series. Those are moments and memories that will never go away, and they really kind of establish maybe a legacy for some guys as far as what they did in the regular season and then what they were able to do in the postseason, because that's the ultimate barometer of greatness, is championships.
Yeah. I just heard you call me old buddy, so I just heard the old in there. But when you bring up like Charles Barkley or Dan Marino, remember Dan Marino famously went to the Super Bowl his rookie year and never made it back, and obviously never won one. And I think that's always kind of when I think of who did what, that is always something that sticks out in my mind. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notified when we post new videos.